Welcome everybody to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, Attention, and ADHD coach Jeff Copper. And I'm here to do a video that I've wanted to do for a very, very long time. It's called Organizing to Get Organized. And it's insight that I picked up a couple years ago from an individual that I was coaching, and it's played out many, many times ever since. I've delayed doing the video because it's a little bit of a challenge to try to do this in such a way that you can really understand it. So I'm going to ask you the best to follow along. The video will be a little bit longer than normal, but I assure you, if you really kind of get the concept, you'll understand a few key issues here and some insights that will help you kind of better manage organization. So let's just kind of, this is a very example-based thing. So imagine that you sell blocks, okay? I was coaching an individual who sold something else that was very similar to this, but they come in two colors, white and black, and they come in different sizes. 2x4, 2x6, and 2x8. Now, there's 6 different combinations of these particular blocks. And the individual that I was coaching in his office would have a spec sheet on each one of them defining the parameters of each block and the price of each block. And it was very simple for him because he would just flip to the page and everything was really captured on one page. The issue at hand, though, was he was designing a website to sell these blocks. And as he began to do that, he realized that if he had a separate page for each one of them, they were like 6 different products, denoted by P1, P2, all the way through P6. And this was kind of cumbersome on the website because there was multiple pages, lots of links kind of clicking around, and the user experience wasn't as simple. Now in his office, it was very simple for him because he just flipped to the pages or had them up on the wall. But the user who didn't know what was this was new to them on the web, again, it was a little bit cumbersome. So we began to take a look at how we could change it in a different way. It's the same 6 items. It's to actually have the blocks that are white in 3 sizes, 2x4, 2x6, and 2x8, but it comes in white or it comes in black. And so there would be a drop down on a page so you'd have those 3 and the person could make some adjustments on the website. For him, he's got to look up the prices now in his office, and it's not really kind of mapping to his brain. Another thing that we could do is we could actually organize it into 2 products. One is white and one is black. And they come in 3 sizes, 2x4, 2x6, and 2x8. So far, we've got the same 6 blocks, but we've looked at them in 2 to 3 different ways. 6 products, 3 products, and 2 products. The final way is that there was just one block, and I hope you can kind of see that because I guess it's a little bit of a white screen, and you can get it white or black or the 3 different sizes. On a website, understand this was just one page, and there would be a drop down that a person would choose the black and the different sizes, which would require more complicated work on the backside for the web programmer to able to kind of come up with the price. Now, here's what I want you to think about. We have the same 6 blocks. They haven't changed, but we could organize them as 6 products, 3 products, 2 products, or 1 product. We haven't even designed the web page. We're just trying to determine which one of these makes the most sense. And the thing about this is, to determine it is situational. And it's a trial and error process. For the person I was coaching, 6 products was clearly easier for him on the back end at his desk. On the web, though, we found that 1 product was clearly easier for the user experience. So they were in kind of direct contrast. And he was struggling, he was toggling back and forth because he didn't realize is that he was trying to figure out how to organize the selling of these blocks in terms of products before he actually organized the web page. And I find that this is fascinating because it plays out an awful lot. Let me just kind of go to the next slide here. So this is just a kind of a continuum, if you will. For the web designer, if it's 6 products, it's simple because you're just kind of putting up the pages, if you will. But as you get to 1 product, it's more complicated because you got to do the back-end math and the algorithms and the tables and whatever you have to do on the backside. But for the user, it was more complicated. There was multiple pages, but it was a lot more simple if there was 1 page. And so hence we have this criteria or this continuum. Now these are just the thing about that's kind of key on the organizing to get organizing. There's trade-offs that you have to take into consideration. Simple and complex. Simplicity depends on who is using it. In this situation, on one continuum, the back end, that person I was coaching, or on the front end, the user experience. So it really, really kind of varies. And what I really want to kind of point out is getting this right is the idea. It's a trial and error process. I want to reiterate, that's trial and error. At the end of the day, he chose one of these. Now that he chose how he was going to organize his products, then he went and organized his website. And once he got past that, this step, organizing the website was actually relatively easy. He was able to do it. But this was the barrier that he didn't really acknowledge, that he kept going back and forth and not really identifying that he was struggling because he had to choose which one. There wasn't a perfect answer for everybody, but he had to get the facts and pull it together. So how does this manifest in other ways? I've often been coaching college students that need to, they have a class, maybe have to write a paper, or there's some project that they need to do. And I find often is that they sit down and they first need to organize before they organize. In other words, I'm going to go do the research and I'm going to kind of go figure out kind of what's there, but what's my angle? How am I going to pay attention to this? What's my approach to this? And they have to begin to think about that a little bit. And then once they lock in, that's it. That's how I'm going to go about this. Often it maps itself out and it's easy for them to write the paper. But all too often what they do is they skip to, they did the research and they sit down with a white sheet of paper and they're writing and getting rid of it, writing, getting rid of it, writing, getting rid of it. It's a very inefficient way to brainstorm, to figure out the right way to pay attention to it. And so often it's a little bit easier to understand. It's a trial and error process, is to go verbally process with somebody the different ideas to help them accelerate trying to figure out the angle that they're going to do. Now I use the word angle, and just like before, which product configuration they were going to use in order to make that happen. And if you understand this concept, like I said, it can help accelerate your organization because you're not jumping to the end. You're actually kind of looking at the process. So my tips for organizing and organized. Sometimes you have to organize in a two-step process. You've got to kind of come up with the idea or the angle and actually organize it. It's a trial and error process on the first step. Once you have the second step, it's a little bit more methodical. It can be accelerated if you're collaborating with somebody or brainstorming. And often those with ADHD skip this. And what I'm finding in the internet world, this is a big process. Everybody's just like skipping over and sending on. I think it's kind of creating a lot of chaos. Before I wrap this up, I do have another example that came to me that's a little bit germane, and that is I've coached several students that were in college, and they go to their first set of classes, and there's a syllabus. And there's information like an online textbook, and there's stuff on Google Drive, and there's PowerPoints, and there's stuff all over the internet. In that situation, I really encourage many of my people with ADHD, go get it all and print it out, go to Office Depot, get a bunch of binders, put it in chronologically how the semester is going to unfold into the binders. In other words, we got all that information and we got organized, so it's all there. Now we can digest it. In other words, that's the second step. In other words, I'm organizing all the information so I can then organize it in my mind. And again, it's a little bit maybe intimidating because it's a two-step process, but I think a lot of times you might find that you're stuck in organizing because you haven't actually stopped and thought about this as a two-step process. And the key insight, I think, not only that it's just a two-step process, is that the first process is a trial and error, and it depends on how you're going to use the information. The best way of doing it depends on the situation, and you got to run those simulations in your mind or do it with somebody else. So we hope that you found some value in this tip. Subscribe to Attention Talk Video for some other great examples by hitting the subscribe button below. And we hope you have enjoyed this edition of Attention Talk Video. Take care.